Almost 40. Good afternoon. This afternoon in our PMR Africa interview, we are talking with Henk Van Bemmelen from Blue Security. Henk, thanks very much for being with us this week. Looking forward to exploring yourself, the business, what drives the business in this context that we operate in. I mean, probably one of the most difficult contexts that is South Africa. It presents a lot of risks, but also a lot of opportunity if one can navigate these as best as possible. So just to start off with, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from. I'm not going to sing your praises in terms of the CV. This is for you to tell us a bit about where you come from, some of your sort of formal educational training, some of your core values and your qualifications.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, good to meet you and to share a little bit myself. Yeah, I've got a long journey as business. I've been around in this business for a long time, and it's been my passion, and it's quite a sort of the only business I've done. And if I go back, when I finished matric, it was about 1988, around there somewhere. I was giving away my age now. And yeah, I went 2 years army, where I spent about 16, 17 months of that in Southwest Africa, that time. That's now called Namibia. Came back from there, still wasn't 100% sure where I want to do, where I want to go. I always had this, before I went in the army, I always want to become a fireman. For some reason, we all want to become firemen, the young lads. Still would have liked to become a fireman. But yeah, as things turns out, and as my journey was, I sort of shopped around looking more into the tech side of, those times like data lines, and wasn't as advanced as what it is now. And then, yeah, one of my friends sort of said to me, while you're looking around, join a security company that he's working at called Sandton Sentry those days. Sandton was the key thing, probably one of the first companies that were ever created that started armed reaction, Lane Basotti in Sandton Sentry. I joined that. I started getting involved with that as a reaction officer, responding to alarms, keeping areas safe, working to communities. And as that progressed, I realized, like, this is my stuff. This is my passion. This is my thing. It's a thing where I can make a difference in communities. You can protect people, and it sort of lined up with the fireman idea and everything that all just got together. And yeah, through that, I just started studying through the business. Went on certain courses they provided. They spent a lot of energy in developing us. I grew from there, worked a little bit in technical, worked into the control room, spent a time in the admin side of it, sort of build up to a regional manager. And then, yeah, the business got sold out through a company called Taco ADT, around about, I think, 15 or 16 years back. I got an opportunity to move from Joburg down to Durban, come and run the branch this side. Yeah, and then the journey has got bigger, and I grew into the business, took up leader roles all over the show, different departments that I got opportunity to learn, so it gives you a better broad aspect of the business. And then, yeah, through that, became a director for operations, been my whole life in operations, so I know the ins and outs of the operational side, control and reaction. And as that carried on, yeah, moved from 18 to the blue environment, different family, closer family, started just following my journeys of making a difference. And yeah, I had opportunity, became MD through that process. And then when our CEO retired, I got opportunity to take over the reins and drive this business to the next level. So yeah, on a short note, that was sort of where my whole journey started into as business. And that's what, I think 32 years now, and I'm still in the security industry. And I love it. It's a place where you can make difference. It's a place where you can protect people and just make the world a safer place.
No, absolutely. And the next question is tied to that idea that you've already illustrated there. And just a very simple biographical question is this idea of what are your core values? So you touched on, making a difference. And for many business people, they can say, oh, I want to make a difference and that sort of thing, but it's different to actually implement it and to show it. So for you, what are your personal core values? And maybe you can link that to how you're trying to ensure that the company reflects that as much as is possible.
Yeah, listen, a lot of my, one of my core values is always, honesty is a big thing. I've believed in that from when I was very small. It's all about honesty where you want to go. And I always tell the team also and the guys at work that we all make mistakes and nobody's perfect. We're all human beings. There's different pressure points in a business. As a leader, you always have pressure and you do to make a mistake. And I think the core value of that is always stay honest. Stay honest with it. And then the value also I got is I say to guys, whenever you're in a time of a space where you need help or you don't understand, is always put up your hands. Don't try and fight the battle by yourself. Because that battle will win you in the end of the day. You're not going to win that battle. And yeah, my other value is we always do things as a team. You're nothing better than somebody else. You're always open to learn something. Even now at my age, I'm like 53, 54. You still learn something. There's always something to learn in it. And those values, if you get that right, that you can show some care. Believe it or not, our values in our business is care, ownership, passion, and service. And those things carries with you as a leadership. But yeah, honesty, definitely one thing. When you need help, you put up your hand to help. And as long as you do those things, we're on a good journey. Then you can get far.
In terms of communicating or implementing those values then in your position as a leader. So I'm tying this to the broader question on your views on leadership and what makes, a good leader, some of the attributes. I know it's too difficult to maybe have a checklist of 5 items, but if you had to put it in that sort of way, how can one assess whether someone is a good leader or not?
I've always read, the guys that I always looked up to and mentors that I had around me through my career and my business. And I had a lot of guys, in our operational environment, it's a very tough environment. It's high, it's fast, it's dangerous. A lot of things can go wrong quickly. You work with a lot of people. Business, you get 400-500 reaction officers. It's massive. It's a big business. And something that always taught me, and it's something that I always add on to be that you see in a good leader in this, it's not about you. It's always about the people around you. You always accomplish something as a team. You never stand up saying, this is what I've done, this is what I have done, or this is where I am going. It's always been about the guys around you. Surround you with good people that want to make a difference, people that want to share your passion and your values. And as long as you have those things, then you're a good leader. And you see it in leaders. I've seen the guys around me, and I always try and take it a little bit back to some of the people that I've got, is that we work together, we do it as a team, we're flexible, we understand each other, we accept our mistakes that we make from each other. And for me as a leader, it's always to try and get the best out of those guys. Get the best out of them. What can you do better? How are you going to get further? You know what? I always try and teach him. The one guy, I remember one mentor always taught me, he said to me, if you walk out and the guy can do the job better than you, then you've accomplished what you want to accomplish as a leader. And that's where it is. That's just how you portray it out to the guys and out to the teams. And that's how you drive it. As let them just spread their wings and let them fly and let them do the work better than you.
In terms of the idea of self-development, and obviously as a leader, there's the profit of the company, there's those very basic things that we think of when we think business and this big idea. But in terms of trying to sort of move things along in a sustainable way in terms of developing yourself, but also those around you, be they immediately below you or even furthest down in the company, what do you think in terms of improving oneself and maybe your leadership capabilities, your management capabilities, but also how one can then help people improve themselves around you?
Yeah, training has always been on my top of my list. I think that's why my HR lady loves me so much, because when we talk training, she's in a good space. Always tries and sells me the world, but they always try that, and that's good. I always sat with it. If you look at our business, our development programs, our training, we nominate guys on a yearly basis to take them to the next level, get more development. Because I said always to the guys, as a mentor, you can only train a guy so much. And a lot of stuff you train him as a mentor also comes from you and it reflects from you and stuff that you've experienced. But there's people out there that's experiencing different stuff in the same environment that can teach you different stuff. And the only way you get it is if you're exposed to those guys and if you go for development. So development, the big thing on my list. We spend a lot of energy in that. Yeah, finance is always the thing. I think profit in business always is sort of the big thing that jumps out. Do we have it or don't have it? But we make room for that. It's all about succession planning. We're not going to be around here forever. And the last thing I say to guys, when you walk away from this business, if this business ticks on, you've won the battle. If this business falls flat because flipping, you've locked everything into a small little safe in your office and nobody can get in, then we're in trouble. And that's what makes a difference for myself, onto this business. It's just open-minded, spend some time on training, develop people, focus on succession planning. It's a crucial thing that we work around this business.
No, absolutely. In terms of innovation, and on this point, you can explore a little bit the sort of industry within which you operate, but also innovation in terms of, I don't know, adapting management styles, leadership styles. I know it's a multifaceted question, but what are your thoughts on driving innovation, as it were? It's this big, sexy idea, but one actually has to do it practically. You can't just talk about it.
Yeah. Life was easier when I was a reaction officer in the 80s. The closest thing I got to technology was when they just launched cell phones. And that was a struggle itself to work around it. And I think in my days, when we talked about technology, was tracker in your vehicle, because I used to check where we were going when we were naughty as reaction guys. So it's grown over years. Team loves me because I love innovation. I'm one of those guys, like, I like things on my phone. When I pay with my phone. That's like, hey, that just makes me excited, makes my tank fuller. That's happy stuff. And that's what I like for the innovation. You adapt it, you change onto it, you work on it. In our business, it's become a big thing. If I see where we've moved in the last 10 years from innovation, it's a giant leap that we've done as business. It's not about just a reaction guy in a vehicle responding to your alarm, or a guy in a control room phoning you to tell you if you're okay. Yes, that happens. That's the basics of our principles in our business. But the technology behind it, CCTV, smart alarms, tracking things through your cell phone, managing your alarm through your cell phone, or checking your cameras while you thousands of miles away on a different continent, or away from your home. Those are the smart stuff that's coming in, and if we look at the stuff, it's getting smarter, type of way we modifying the signals coming across, cell panics that we've got, stuff that can pre-warn you, when somebody wants to come in your yard, before the guy gets in your yard, we can now. So it's all about this technology to help us fight the crime. And I think this is where it comes. We always had this little radius around your house. So your house became the zone. Then we get smart on technology, your house, then your outside boundary line becomes your little zone. Now we're in a space where we're saying, but hold on, the street becomes your zone. Now it's neighborhood watches that's coming in, and it's neighborhood patrollers that comes into the area. Smarter technology to communicate. It's quicker to get information out to catch guys. We got now snipers across the bottom of our business or spectrum, where we can pick up vehicles when it's stolen immediately. Amount of cars we recover, stolen stuff we recover, guys we catch before they even committed crimes, and the list is endless of happening. And that's all about just getting smarter, just sticking more innovation into your business, getting quicker to information, getting quicker to data, and that analyzing data. I think the big thing I also like about innovation is, how do you take data and how do you make data work for you? Do you get crime patterns, crime type of incidents happening? We're in spaces where we try and plan, get IIA to plan what is the next crime going to be, more or less. How do we get there before it happens? So innovation, a big thing in it. Our whole business is driven around that. Even the backdoor stuff, smarter invoicing, smarter systems working on payments, smarter debtors, consolidating data, the control room analyzing signals, activity. It's enormous. I can spend hours telling you where we are with these things, what have we implemented. what is making us go faster, better, fighting better crime and that. And the nice thing about that, Chris, is that you see the success coming through on those stuff. And that's the lack of stuff about it. For the team, we're all in the same place. My commercial guy is specialized. One of his specialties is innovation and that. We spend a lot of time on shows. We attend a lot of summits where they have smart stuff. We actually got some of the big suppliers like the Hawu that does the CCTV stuff as branded as a preferred client of theirs, and they actually use us to test their technology, sticking into others. We got guys from UK that's testing their smart optics guys from their smart alarms, their smart radios, because the guys know we love that stuff, and if it works, we tick the box, we utilize it, we get it into the market. If it doesn't work, we go back drawing board, sharpen it up, and then that. So yeah, innovation, to myself, the business, it's the only way we can fight crime. There's if you drive around and you have 10 cars running around and you think your visibility is going to make the difference, that's not going to make a difference anymore. You need to get smarter and safer now.
In terms of success, and you touched on that in your previous response, so measuring success, both for yourself and for the company, I mean, would one, in your context, define it as certain metrics? Is it whether you reach a 200% profit or not? How for you personally do you measure success, and for the company?
So I always break it down two sections. The one, I always create these two buckets. So the one bucket is a shareholders bucket. That's where all the profit goes in, and the whatever financial metrics we use in that, it all goes in there. And I'm a very result-driven guy. So for me, it's about giving good results, because it's a passion in that. That's why we're here. That's to make the difference in that. So I always use the bucket. I think the financial bucket gets always treated a little bit different from the other one, because there's certain stuff you need to accomplish. Your business need to turn around. You need to make profit. You need to deliver to shareholders. That's just, unfortunately, one of those things happen. My other bucket is then the measurement internal of the business. And then, I look at everything. I've got a nice dashboard that I run where, what is our success on the arrest rate? How many that we recover in the operations side? It's like control room. Especially with load shedding now, the amount of vast volume of signals coming into our business is crazy stuff. But it's that thing, how do you make it smarter? If you did 100,000 signals last month and you did 80,000 this month, you're showing improvement. We're getting better. Vehicles. We talk about vehicles and we're always saying, try and save mileage. We measure our vehicles on C, make sure you hit your barrier of mileage. Because if you don't do that, it means you're not patrolling, you're not showing visibility, in that you're just hanging somewhere under a tree, and that's not a good spot to be, because that's not where you're finding the tree. The tree, nobody's going to steal the tree. There's something else that they need to do. So those are the things to measure. And then, we got our technical measurements. How fast do we get to technical jobs? What is your return rate on it? Because you work with technology, so you don't always get this fault the first time because it's difficult, but you measure that stuff. So we got all these high-level dashboard metrics in our business to say, are we improving year on year? Is it getting better month on month? I've got my commercial guy runs a customer department where all our call comes in, and that gets measured on how quick we answer the call, how quick we get back to our clients. Do we get it wrong now and then? Yes, we do. You work with humans, and the guys do push the wrong button now and then, but most of the time we have that measurements. And then if you get it wrong, what is our action plan? How do we fix it? How do we measure that further? What is that new thing? I'm a guy that believes in set structures that guide you, like ISO 9001. We've got it solid in our business. We're running through a system and they measure you. Are you on track? What are you doing? So those are things that just helps you as an outsider, because then you got these outsiders looking at business. Because when you're internal, you sort of get narrow-minded sometimes, and the stats is not always 100% way to go. There's things always happening outside of that. You need to make sure you're aware of that. And that's where you get these outside guys like these agents doing ISO to help you, guide you in which direction you want to go in that.
It is, of course, easy to highlight one's successes, and I think maybe many people don't always celebrate them when they do realize them. They don't give themselves and their teams enough credit, especially in such a difficult environment such as ours. But the flip side of that is the opportunity for one to deal with failure and to acknowledge that and to learn from it and use it. So in terms of learning from failures, adapting to them, taking what one can from them and then leaving them, what for you have you learned in terms of that sort of life experience and business experience in the arena and the sphere of failure?
Yeah. I always teach the guys, or I always chat to the guy, the team, and then I say to him that I must always remember, once you've made a mistake, you've made it. There's nothing you can do to change that or go and flip and put it under the carpet or clean out. Once you've made a mistake, you made a mistake. The good thing is if you learn away, you don't do the same mistake again. Because if you do the same mistake the second time, then we have a problem around that. We were talking about it probably about 3 weeks back. We were actually talking about a team that, and I was sharing some of the guys, these highs and lows. What was like the 1 or 2 biggest mistakes you made in that? And you pay a price for them. Sadly, if you make the mistakes, you pay a price for them. But you move forward. You take that, you learn from that. When you make decisions, you always remember that. You always bring it back in it. So yeah, there's always something to learn out of them. They make you a little bit deflated sometimes when you make those mistakes because you work in your mind, I could have done different. I could have done it this way. But at the end of the day, I said, guys, you just clear your mind, accept the mistake in it. We fix where we can. We put systems in place to make sure it doesn't happen and take a valuable learning lesson out of that. And then we just move forward. But yeah, I've shared with the guys, I've made a few of them. 1 or 2 big ones that really went big, but even small ones. Small ones also teaches you something in life.
No, absolutely. In terms of role models and people that you looked up to, would there be any specific people, that you met in your personal capacity, sort of business, political figures that you would highlight? And then the sort of second part of that question is role models and legacy. What sort of legacy would you like to leave behind? What sort of role model would you like to be remembered as or used as?
I used to have 2 good role models in the past as I grew through my career and worked through that. And they made a big difference. I really looked up to the guys. Their mentoring was, I had the opportunity obviously to connect with them also and mentor them, or they mentoring me. And they were fairly older guys than me, and they put some good solid foundations down. They can only mentor you so much. Choices you make in between is up to you. I remember one mentor said, if you make a dumb, he always used to call it dumb. He said, if you make a dumb choice, he said, don't put it back to me as your mentor because you made the choice. I'm just putting the foundation down. But I always tell the guys, always find a mentor, look at a mentor, learn from that mentor. He's been around the block in that. He can teach you some valuable lessons. You always know a little bit more, maybe from business, from him, and you come up with new ideas and everything. And I said, that's what you're supposed to do as a new leader, but your foundation is there, and that mentor created that foundation. And if you don't have a mentor, then find a mentor. So yes, I do. Now, in this stage, I don't really have mentors in it. I'm quite biblical driven, so I've got 1 or 2 biblical mentors that I drive, and I think that brings a balance into your business, just as a human side and from a Christian point of view. So those are my mentors now. I can't remember, what was the second part of that?
Just in terms of what sort of role model you would like to be remembered as on your legacy.
Yeah, for me, I'm not a real, I want to have a name board stuck on a wall somewhere when I die. I've never been there. I'm always a quiet guy behind the scenes, and I give the credit to the team and that, they don't want to make the work in it. But I always like guys to remember that it's just not about me and it's not about them. It's about a bigger picture in a business. And there's always one thing that I always tell them I must remember. And that's why I want them to remember. This is the board they can put on the wall. And it goes like, do what you love and love what you do. If you can get those 2 things right in the business, you're in a good space. Because if you're around here and you hate your job, you're not going to get very far. And if you're around here and you love your job, but you hate what you want to do, you ain't going to get the job right. So love what you do and do what you love. I said to the guys, if you can get that, stick that board on the wall, then we're all going to be good down the line. And that's it, yeah.
In terms of the sort of idea of corporate, sorry, just give me 2 minutes. Oh, I got lots of helicopters and planes over there every now and then. So, in terms of the corporate social responsibility, this idea of giving back and engaging with the sort of stakeholders in society, as it were. Is there anything that you would like to highlight there in terms of your personal work, in terms of Blue Security, these ideas of engaging in the broader community, and that sort of work and engagement?
Yeah, listen, my personal walk through the church and from my walk into my Christianity, there's a lot of things we do on the side and a lot of stuff we get back to community because that's what it's about, drive that. For business and Blue, we focus on community side. We've got a leg called Blue Angels. And Blue Angels, we look at clients like victims of crime and where we can help the community in that. So that we do through Blue Angels. And then as Blue Security ourselves, our big drive now is community. I think security has become a place where it's more down to a community side. Connect with the communities, connect with the neighborhood watches, develop more in there, put more training in there. We've got programs running, training domestic workers on what to look for, how to be careful. We've got trained clients where you can train when we have ever need of firearm training and that. So we've got all these small programs running through Blue Angels Blue that we promote back into our clients. We got, I think, 4 baby care facilities that we sponsor, we help, and we drive, where we've actually literally built these little safe boxes in the wall. It sounds harsh, but it's reality, because what happened is that people just come around and they drop the babies at the gate and then they leave them and walk away. So what happens is the baby stays overnight and the next morning they die because it's too cold. So we created these safe boxes where you can put the baby in if you don't want it, but it's got a sensor inside. So if somebody put in there, we get a signal, we get a warning, we send people out there, the facility that they care, and they come out and that's how we protect baby. So it's small stuff. I don't even think we're touching the iceberg of the problem, or we're just touching the iceberg. I think the problem is way bigger than that. And but yeah, that's, I always say to guys, how do you eat the elephant? And you just go piece by piece, work it slowly through the system, help where you can help in it, and then that's how you make a difference. Change the world slowly, ne?
Absolutely, one little bit at a time. In terms of, just in our last sort of 5 minutes, I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk a bit about vision and what you want to leave the business as.
Okay. Yeah, our vision, I actually changed it about 2 years back into the business when I sat with shareholders. And our vision is simple and easy, and it's to make our communities a safer place. We've made it clear, simple. We've imprinted into this business. Whatever we need to do, wherever we need to go, is we want to make it smarter. We want to make it safer in it. And we want communities just to strive. Doesn't matter what community it is. Wherever we are, wherever impact is, just make them to strive in that. And there's a lot of ways: innovation, technology, stuff we do, down to the last guy, the guy patrolling in the vehicle, the guy that's connecting with the community, and that. Those are the things that starts and where they make a difference. But in a nutshell, is we're striving to make our community safer, where people can just walk around free. Those in the older days, the kids used to play in the street and they could do things, and that if we can get there, then we're on the right journey to do that. And everybody in this business knows we're here to fight crime, we're here to make a difference, we're here to make it a safer place. And that's our objective in that. And it starts at everyone. Doesn't matter who you're on this building, it starts at everyone to work that through that. And that is where our vision lies and our passion lies.
No better note on which to end. So Henk Van Bemmelen, thank you so much.
Chris, thank you very much. Thanks for the time.